All right. I guess we'll start with the Frankfurt School. Okay, so I think the two characteristics that was talked about with Horkheimer, hope I'm saying his name right, and Adorno, after the post-war music industry was advertisement and mass production. And basically, with that was that it's easier to advertise a lot of things now, I guess, as to before. So, well, I guess mass production comes first because everything is so mass produced, and then you have to advertise it to the masses, making it so that people will want to buy it. So I think that's what she was saying, like a lot of art forms lose its value in that because, I mean, I guess when you think about with music, you kind of like, I mean, I know artists want to make songs that they feel like is what represents them, but you also kind of got to make a song that's going to be popping on the radio and the charts and people going to, because I mean, if you think about it, like you just make some song, I don't know, talk about your cat or something, nobody's going to really want to listen to it. But if you talk about turning up somewhere, you might be good.
Right. I think that's why a lot of like R&B artists, I noticed they kind of cross over into pop because they need to get more of an audience so that they can reach more people, not just one set of people. And obviously, you know, it helps monetarily. So, you know, people think, in the industry, I think people think more of quantity over quality.
Yeah, I don't know if it was like a video or something we talked about in class, but we talked about the idea of selling out. So I think that's where that comes into play as far as like with you talking about how people, the artists cross over, you know? Because like, I think Chris Brown, he came out as an R&B singer, but when he crossed over into pop, a lot of people had a problem with it, honestly. It's kind of just like, that's not what you're known for, like stick to what you know. But I mean, it worked for him. I guess.
I guess like going along with Frankfurt, I guess sometimes artists like get lost among themselves. Like y'all notice like a lot of artists, they're like better when they first start making music. It's like cause they actually make the music that they enjoy making. And then once they start appealing to other people, that's when people start considering their music like whack.
Yeah, that's what I put. I wrote down that artists switch up the style to appeal to the industry for monetary value instead of putting out art or music or whatever the case may be because they actually genuinely like it.
Yeah.
Like Nicki Minaj is like a huge. I would say she's a good example of that. She went from like doing like hardcore rap to pop.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what she was acting like, but
yeah, I feel like she went through a lot.
Yeah.
Different phases.
Yeah. So, she's a good example of that. And then
Didn't Frankfurt like compare the music industry to like communism in a way? Or
I think it was. Did you say it was capitalism? I think it was capitalism.
That's right. Another thing that's changed the music industry is like how these streams are counting as album sales now. Instead of like used to be, you really had to sell out by like selling a lot of albums. But I think they even made it harder on these artists because it's like 1,500 streams counts as one album download, I think.
Okay. So when you say stream, that means like how many times the record or the album gets played?
Or like, you know how Apple Music is like, you pay for Apple Music like $5.99 a month, but you can download albums. Really streaming the albums, you're not really buying them.
Right. Okay.
So I mean, I think, do you think that changes the way we interact with the music as far as like, because I mean, I know it's a lot of streaming sites out now, like when you think about it, like Apple and Spotify and all that, compared to when we used to actually have to go to the store to buy the CD
and download the CD to the computer.
Yeah, and then put it onto whatever.
Yes. Oh my God.
I feel like that's changed so much, and I feel like streaming has made it easier for people to access it, and by that, like, and I feel like you don't see as much advertisement for it in like a lot of like TV and stuff. Like, because I know I learned a lot of my stuff through social media, you know, and it's kind of like the artists promoting it and then like all their fans promoting it. So I really think that's changed too over the years in the music industry.
Right. Everything is so fast now. We had shows like 106 in Park, but they just brought TRL back. But people don't really make music videos anymore because everything is so fast. So, you know, there's no albums really being placed or bought, I should say, because like you said, mainstream.
Yeah, it's kind of like you really don't have time to do that anymore because you gotta stay on your A game. Because it's like as soon as you kind of like slack off or you take some time off, there's like so many different people popping up, new artists, they're producing like some of the similar sounds, and for you to stay relevant, you gotta just keep going, keep going.
I think I have watched some documentary. I can't remember the artist, but they were like, usually you can make an album. It takes about 2 years, and now it's like artists have to put out just a single, just so like, okay,
stay
don't
relevant.
forget about me. Don't forget about me. So that's that.
And I think that just goes into like one of the things she was talking about is the problem with the music industry is that with it being so fast, like you really don't have time to produce genuine music, you know? So you're just kind of producing something for somebody else to keep you relevant.
Right, for the time being type of music.
Exactly.
I think another problem with the music industry, a lot of people don't really get the credit that they deserve. Like songwriters and all that.
Yeah. Like that documentary we watched about backup singers.
Cause y'all know, like Rihanna, I think Rihanna's a good artist, but like she don't write none of her music.
Right.
Yeah, that's very true. I was actually watching an interview with SZA, and the song that she's featured on with Rihanna on Rihanna's album was her song that she wrote for herself.
What song was it?
Oh, what song is it? It's okay. Apple Music. It was the second or third song, but anyway, she had wrote it for herself, and she was just like in a room, and she was just playing it to hear it back. And Rihanna just walked in and was like, "I like that song. I want it on my album." And she was kind of like, "Well, you know, this is my song. I'm putting it on mine." And Rihanna was like, "No, like I want it on mine." And she just ended up putting it on her album and just featuring her on it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, like can you imagine like you wrote a song for yourself and then like somebody higher up than you in position kind of just like took it and was like, I mean, you can be featured on it. Like
That's how the industry works, though, for real.
it's crazy, right?
But I was told from what I know about the industry, people who are behind the scenes typically make more than the people who are up front. So I think that's kind of, it's like, okay, you do all the work, you are the face of this, and basically you catch all the hell, but you get this much, and I'm gonna get this big portion.
Consideration. What's the song?
Okay. Oh.
Yes, this is what she was gonna put it on her album originally. Because she was one of the writers for Anti.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I think you're right. I think a lot of, I feel like a lot of people that does play background roles really kind of do want their time to shine, but I feel like it never comes. Because I really feel like you kind of have to, you got to be popular, honestly, to succeed. Like, people got to know you, kind of got to have a fan base, and I feel like it's really hard for especially, like, new incumbent artists to really, like, make people want to listen to them.
I feel like I've always, like, when I was younger, I had wanted to be, like, a singer or whatever, and I felt like once I reached a certain age, or once I got out of high school, I was like, oh, it's over for me. Because I feel like I'll be too old. But,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like, I can't remember the artist's name on the documentary that we watched about background singers. I think her last name was Tiva or something like that. But she had mentioned how basically she didn't have the look. So if you don't have certain things such as a look, or you don't look young, you don't look skinny anymore, it's like they just cancel you out all the way. But you have this gift and this talent that you're passionate about, you can't even really express it.
And I feel like that even goes beyond, like, you don't even honestly gotta have talent. As long as you got a look, like, they can fix your voice.
Right.
And appeal to the people. So it's just kind of like what people want, like what they want to see, what they're looking for.
Right.
The biggest thing I think is wrong with the industry does, like the artists become prisoner of the contracts in a way.
Yeah.
For real. If you think about how many groups Diddy tried to sign. It's like,
True.
what happened to all these artists that you try to put on?
Or the people who win American Idol and X Factor and all that
Exactly.
stuff.
You don't ever hear nothing else about them.
Even Lil Wayne for hell.
True. Yeah, I was on Instagram the other day and I saw somebody, an artist, talking about how they want to produce music, but they're stuck in their contract. The record company won't let them out, and they just kind of feel stuck. Which, I mean, I think it's just kind of like a gift and a curse, like, because it's like you wait for that day for somebody to call and say they're gonna sign you, but then when you're ready to go, you stuck. Like, you ain't got nowhere to really go.
It's kind of always been like that. Have y'all ever seen the New Edition store?
Yeah.
It's like New Edition was signed, but they were technically signed to somebody else. So in order for them to really make money, they would have to sign another group.
Yeah, it had to go like through 3 different people before they even saw it.
So I
And
think,
they saw it.
yeah. So I think Boys II Men was signed under goddamn Ronnie DeVoe or something, one of them.
Yep.
So it's always been like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think one of the sad things though was in the documentary, the lady who I cannot remember. It was the older lady, the older black lady who was teaching Spanish now.
Okay. Yeah. That
Who
was
went
sad.
on tour? Like she was on tour for most of her young life. Like she was on like big tours, and it's just like her solo career just never went
Right.
off. And
now
like
she teaches something that she
teaches Spanish. Like I mean, granted she might like Spanish, but
Right.
like her true passion was music.
Right.
But like she said, music wasn't gonna pay her bills, and she had a kid. Like that's just crazy thing that you dedicate so much of yourself into something for it not to work out.
Right. And then there was an instance in the again with the same woman who I said they said she didn't have the look anymore. So she had like this determination where she was willing to stay singing in the background just so that she could kind of fulfill her desire to become or just to still sing and be in the industry. But it kind of like proposed this question like, are you settling? And they were like, how much do you value yourself if you know that you have that star quality but the music or the numbers I guess just aren't showing?
Right.
Then I guess that helps to define what your value actually is. The money, the numbers, all the economic stuff that plays into how, I guess, how much talent you actually have in the industry.
So would y'all still consider music as like a form of art?
Yeah,
Oh, definitely.
absolutely. I just feel like music industry, it's just really cutthroat. Like you really kind of just gotta know how to survive. It's either you gonna sink or swim in the music industry. And I feel like a lot of people don't really make it, so they end up sinking. A lot of people.
Right.
I wish you gave us a question.
That's my time stuff.
Let's see. Oh well, I know here. Okay, so just looking at this paper, I see because the question paper school was made up of different people, so everybody had different ideas. So this one says Benjamin believes that art is unique. Art has authenticity, and art has an aura. Compared to Horkheimer and Adorno, who I think they believe the same thing, but they also realize that it loses its value over time. And I think that going back to your question, like, does music art form? Yeah, it's an art form, but I feel like some of the forms of music that was popular back in the day or back in different eras isn't popular now because I feel like it's been sampled so much and it's been changed so much that like our generation probably wouldn't appreciate something back then. So I can see how it kind of like depreciates value over the years, and I feel like that's kind of what they're saying. Like, I mean, granted, like, I don't know, 50s music was mass produced now. Like, I'm pretty sure some people would like it, but I mean, it's not like pop and hip hop and all that's mass produced. So that's what we tend to listen to.
Right.
And I mean, does it have value? I mean, I guess in some people's lives it has value.
Yeah, like Michael Basquiat and how his artworks, you know, influenced a lot of hip hop culture, and how, like, honestly, I never knew who he was until I came and took an intro to hip hop.
Yeah, same. I
love
never.
that class.
I think that's my favorite class. I
Yeah.
never knew about him because you just don't hear about him.
Yeah, and like how I remember you telling me how it was your first time going to the museum on campus. Like, a lot of people, like, it's just not. It just depends on what type of art you gravitate towards as well. But like, I'm more of a musical art person, I guess you could say. But like, a lot of people that has been here all 4 years don't know about that the art museum. So it's just like,
yeah, like I honestly didn't know about it. I thought it was like where they want to go take classes for.
Right.
Right.
So I just walk by.
yeah, there's
Yeah,
a
like-
class held in there, but
Yeah, like I didn't know it was like an action museum, which is really cool. Cause I know about it. But going back to, I can never say Michael Basquiat,
yeah,
and Andy Harlow. I think, honestly, like you see a lot of their paintings in like a lot of the stuff we watch, like movies and stuff. But like I never realized it. But one thing that I do realize is, like, you know, sometimes when you watch the TVs, I mean, people are like, oh, is this an original? Like, is this an original? So it just shows that like if you have an original, like,
right.
you pretty legit. But I feel like it's also so common because it's like, even if yours is an original, like, oh, I already saw that, or like I saw that somewhere else. Like, it's just replicas. So I mean, it's kind of like the video we watched with the museum. It's kind of just like somebody has to say, like, that's art for it to be of a value, you know?
Just like one of the artists that I watch kind of closely or follow on social media, like I know Fabulous, the rapper. He's really big on getting authentic clothing and sneakers and all that kind of stuff. If it, like, he has the original jerseys from everywhere. So I mean, like, to him that could be art. You know, fashion is art to some people.
Yeah.
So he finds like authentic pieces of clothing.
Yeah, that's true.
So how do y'all like feel about artists who sample a lot? Like, for example, Tory Lanez. This dude samples every song he does.
Literally.
Honestly, I feel like I'm kind of mixed about it because I feel like I wouldn't say he's not original though, because what he's doing is
It's
taking
original,
I mean, he's taking a song, I guess, that it's like he's not letting a good song die. He's putting his own personality, his own, you know, twist on it. I like him.
So do y'all think the samples, like, it takes away the value of the original? Like, you think people be like, oh,
I feel like if you do a disjustice to it,
Yeah.
I feel like if you can take it and remake it and it's like it's good,
Yeah.
then I feel like, you know, you didn't discredit or you didn't disrespect the song. But like I feel like, I don't know,
Like
it's hard.
Like I've heard a song being sampled. I'm like, I know that song from somewhere. It made me want to go and listen to the original.
Yeah,
So
sure.
a lot of music, like, if I'm like, that beat, I know that beat, where did it come from? Now I need to figure out where did it originate from. So sometimes I spend a lot of time like listening to an album and trying to figure out if it's sampled and where did it originate from.
Yeah, that's true. Now I learned that in my hip hop appreciation
Yeah.
class. I learned a lot of songs that we see now is sampled, and it's just like it's been so like mixed and mastered that you really don't realize it. But when you like actually hear it, you like, oh, look at that song.
Like Kanye West, he's really big on sampling as well. He's somebody that I look up to musically.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like if some of the originals hadn't created their songs, we probably wouldn't have a lot of songs that we listen to.
Right. And me, like, I guess, you know, differential association and all that kind of stuff, but I have older parents, so, like, if I do hear a sample, it's like, oh, okay, I know that song.
Yeah, I catch myself. Okay, so wait, I'm the same way. Like, they'll be my parents playing the song, and then I catch myself like singing the new version.
Right,
It's like,
right,
wait, this
yeah.
is the song. Yeah,
And
that's
vice
true.
versa, like, it could be the old song mixing in the new.
Exactly.
Like, that sound kind of good.
That's true. Okay, so wait, one statement though that Adorno said that I think we could kind of turn into a question was, he said, the moment you sell your music, you are done because you are willing to change yourself for sales. Do you guys think that's true?
I think it depends for real. Because like some artists really work hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just don't care about selling albums.
That's true.
Like, for example, the GOAT, Chris Brown. He been working on this album called Heartbreaks on the Full Moon.
Oh my God.
Okay, the plug.
He loves Chris Brown. Okay?
Loves
But the
Chris
thing
Brown.
is, for all these songs, he wrote the music. He's going to produce the videos and all that stuff by himself.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like people still not gonna give him his credit
Right.
when he
But-
working so hard.
But I think that has to do with something else that's not related to his album.
But look,
We all know what
the
that
music industry should strictly be about music and not character. As long as the music is good, everything else should just.
It kind of has to be about character when you have an audience. He lost a lot of his audience just because of the fact of the that incident with him and Rihanna.
Yeah, but it's,
We never really.
it's three sides to every story.
I mean,
It
hey,
is.
it is. I mean, he told his side, he told her side, and then it's really whatever really happened.
I mean, I think it's hard for us to kind of just say that like the music industry should just be about music because you're producing it for people,
Right.
You know, so it's kind of like other people's judgment and opinion is going to come into how they perceive you,
right.
As a person. Like, I mean, granted, because I know some people like they love Chris Brown music. I mean, do they say look out for Chris Brown?
Right. No. Right.
It's here or there, you know.
And then you have, and then like a lot of people take into account, like a lot of people feel entitled,
Mm-hmm.
like audiences or viewers of shows. Like I know if I watch a show, I feel like, okay, now you done already opened up to us, and I think people get vulnerable with music because they relate to it and stuff like that. So once they find someone's music who they gravitate towards and relate to, they feel entitled to know everything about them.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's why the industry feels like they have to manipulate, like, look, you need to be perfect because these people are watching you and they depending on you to tell their story through your songs and your music. This is how you need to sing it, and this is what you need to sing, and this is when you need to sing it. Like they dictate everything in every aspect of their life.
And I feel like
That's
a lot of that is what they go through and not what we see.
Right.
So I feel like it's kind of easy for somebody to say, like, you know, when you start selling your music, you changing who you are as a person because that's just what we're seeing as being reflected and not what they. Because I mean, granted, at the end of the day, like they could still be their true self, believing in what they believed in when they first started. But like you said, for it to be produced and shown to the public, it's not gonna be seen like that. It's just gonna be manipulated.
So do y'all feel like it's like they're doing it out of sacrifice to entertain us, or do you feel like it's greed, or do you think it's different individually for each person?
I think it varies from person to
it's
person.
different.
Yeah, because some people are really doing it for like the wrong reasons, and then some people are really doing it because like that's a genuine passion.
Right. Okay. So an example of each. Give me one.
Okay, somebody who's really doing it, I feel like is Beyonce.
Okay.
I feel like she's like such a hard-working individual, and it's just not because like I like her music, but like when you just see her, like when you watch documentaries and you see everything that she put into like her music, her shows, her outfits, everything coming together, like she is a hard-working woman. Somebody who I don't think
Is just doing it.
Yeah.
Have to go. Oh no.
Yeah.
I think they all love to do it because they all want the money. So
Yeah.
But see, that could be
Greed.
greed though.
shoot, they all greedy as hell. Man.
I don't know. Okay, so when I say this, like I have nothing against these new artists, but I feel like a lot of the new artists are kind of just doing it they're just kind of riding each other's wave. Like they see one person doing it and they're like, oh, I can do that too. Like let me find one way to one up them. Like, oh, they got purple hair, let me get purple and green hair, and let me do this and let me rap like this.
Right.
So I feel like the music that they're putting out all kinds of sound the same. It sounds the same. Y'all got the same look. Y'all promoting the same thing.
Right.
And it's just like, okay, like, I mean, what else? Like, what else is it to you
Right.
besides this?
See, I think some music people are just music people, and some are artists. Like I feel like if you can make music but you can't perform live, then you're not an artist because that's not art.
That's an interesting perspective.
Why you say that?
Because it's just people out here who just, for example, the Migos. They make good music, but if you see them live,
They kind of just like jump
it's,
around.
yeah, it's not entertaining at all. So it's like you're not really an artist because you don't really.
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Like all you do is just make music. Kind of boring.
That's true. That's true. I
But
feel
if
like
you look at Beyonce, her live,
yeah,
it's
she
like
give you like the whole
crazy.
experience.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's true. I feel like that's why some music artists aren't as popular as others because like they just really can't perform or they really can't like hold this show. Like like you can go see some people and you just like dang, like that was a really good show.
Exactly.
And then sometimes you go to concerts and you're like, I mean, yeah,
It was hype though.
yeah, like it was hype.
But honestly, when you said that, I thought about the people who would rather be in the background. Like, okay, a lot of people started off as just like songwriters, like Carrie Hilson and The Dream. And honestly, I don't know how strong they are when they perform.
Yeah.
But I know they got some bang because
Yeah.
they can write
Exactly.
some really good songs. Like The Dream wrote so many of Mariah Carey songs. And Carrie Hilson, she's good with pen and paper and writing and stuff. So, I mean, I wouldn't say that they aren't artists.
Yeah.
But a performer, maybe not. I think it's a difference between.
True. I think like you could be like an all around artist.
Right.
And then you could just be kind of like an artist.
Right. Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Like, cause yeah, like everybody not made to go out and like dance every song and choreograph and do this. Like everybody can't do that. Like it's not everybody.
That's the art though.
The art is their music.
I mean, yeah. Like that. I'm biased when it comes to music.
Oh my
See,
god.
you might need to change that.
Exactly, because you think
Just
everybody might
because
be out here writing.
Right, because Chris
music.
Brown writes and
Dance.
he does graffiti and he dances
That's art.
and poetry and rap
Yeah,
and all
but see,
that.
that's not everybody calling.
Y'all
Right.
took hip hop though. Y'all know the 4 parts of music. It was MC, DJ, B-boy, and graffiti.
Right, but like homeboy behind that's
hip-hop.
DJing wasn't about to be out there
All singers
bebopping.
not gonna be like that, no.
But I mean,
An R&B singer is not gonna do graffiti.
Right, he's not about to be
Chris
out
Brown
there
is the only
bop-bopping in the middle of the stage.
Chris Brown is the only one.
Yeah.
One that can do that. I mean, he's one of a kind. We already know where his influence came from.
Exactly, one of the greatest. So
Yeah.
it's just like you ain't got no choice but to be great.
Yeah. Go hard or go home.
Okay.
any other last points y'all want to close up with?
I think we kind of talked about all of them.
Yeah, I did too. I just think, I don't think nothing's gonna change today or tomorrow in the music industry.
Definitely not.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of like a dog eat dog world.
It
in that
is.
music industry. That's kind of
New
like
people pop up every day.
like if I had to answer the question of whether or not I would want to be in the music industry, I would want to be a writer as opposed to a performer that's in the spotlight because I don't like being manipulated.
I think I could easily be in the spotlight.
Oh,
I just
yeah,
need- I
you
just need a
definitely
song-
could
I just
be
need
in
a
the
songwriter.
spotlight.
That's all I need.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay.
Alrighty.